He said he was staying with his brother. I sent his brother a text to say thanks for hosting. His brother replied, "He's not here, but you're welcome." I sent a screenshot to both of them. Group chat created. Relationship deleted. My name's Rachel. I'm 34, live in Lexington, Kentucky. I work full-time at a medical billing office. Nothing fancy. Life was quiet. Steady. I had a routine, a decent apartment, and a boyfriend I thought I'd marry. His name was Brad. We met at a friend's birthday party at a bar downtown. He was charming right from the start. Made everyone laugh, talked to the waitress like she was a person and not a vending machine. That stood out. Our first date was 2 days later. Sushi. He remembered my favorite roll after I told him once. We moved in together after 9 months. I know that sounds fast, but it felt right. We split rent, took turns cooking, went to Home Depot on Sundays like we were already married. I thought we had something solid. Looking back, I see the signs. I just ignored them. The late-night work calls. The client dinners he never mentioned until last minute. The way he changed his phone password but said it was for work security. The way he started sleeping with his phone under his pillow. I asked him once, "Is there someone else?" He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Don't insult me like that." So I dropped it. Then one Friday afternoon, he told me he had to drive out to Bowling Green. Said his brother, Marcus, needed help moving some stuff and asked him to stay the weekend. I didn't think twice. I even packed him some snacks. Gave him a kiss goodbye. That night, I sat on the couch watching Netflix alone. Around 10 p.m., I thought I'd be polite, send Marcus a quick thank you text. "Hey, thanks for letting Brad crash with you this weekend. Appreciate it." A few minutes passed. Then I got this reply, "He's not here. But you're welcome." I read it twice. My heart dropped. I sat there, staring at the message, wondering what kind of stupid joke this was. Then I realized it wasn't a joke. Marcus had no idea Brad was supposed to be with him. That meant Brad lied. Again. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I took a screenshot of Marcus's message and sent it to both Brad and Marcus. No words, just the picture. Less than a minute later, I saw it. Group chat created. Marcus added us both. He said, "What the hell is going on?" Brad didn't answer right away. I knew he saw it. The little typing bubble came and went. Then nothing. I left the group chat. Didn't say a word. I didn't need to. I turned off my phone and sat there, staring at the TV but not really watching it. My body felt cold. I had that sick feeling you get when you realize the person you trusted the most has been lying to your face. The next morning, I started planning everything. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to ruin him slowly, and that's exactly what I did. The morning after the group chat, Brad came home. I was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, calm as ever. He walked in like he didn't know whether to cry or get on his knees. His eyes were red, and he smelled like cheap cologne and motel air. He said, "Rachel, I can explain." I held up my hand. "Save it. I don't want an explanation. I want you out." He opened his mouth again. "Let's just talk." "No," I said. "You don't live here anymore." I already had a box packed with his chargers, deodorant, and the stack of his mail that had been building up on the counter. I handed it to him. His duffel bag was waiting at the door, packed with his clothes and whatever else I could shove in there. I left his PlayStation in the closet on purpose. I wanted him to beg for it later, just so I could tell him no. He didn't move. Just stood there holding the box like he didn't know what to do with his hands. Finally, he said something pathetic like it wasn't serious. I laughed. "That was what broke me. You lied to me. You told me you were with your brother. You weren't. That's serious." He left, took his bag, his box, and slammed the door on the way out. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. A few days later, I started hearing things. A friend of mine, Kelly, who works at a local hair salon, called me. "Did you know Brad's been seeing some girl named Lexi?" she said. No, I said. Tell me more. Apparently, Lexi wasn't new. She'd been around for at least 6 months. Kelly saw them come into the same brunch spot every other Saturday. Brad never introduced her to anyone. Always paid cash. Said it was just someone from work. That was when I got angry. He didn't just cheat. He played me like a fool. So I found Lexi. Wasn't hard. Small town, social media, mutual follows. She was younger, blonde, one of those wellness coach types who sells protein powders and posts gym selfies. I sent her a message. Nothing mean. Just facts. Hi, Lexi. Not sure if you know, but I was living with Brad while he was seeing you. Here's a picture of our apartment, his stuff, and the groceries he asked me to buy the week he told you he was single. I attached photos. Time-stamped. She left me on read. Then blocked me. Fine. But I wasn't done. Prompt. Add more story twist, but still keep the details consistent. No ending yet. 3 days later. Brad showed up at my work. I didn't even know he remembered where it was. I work in a small office building on the east side of town. He walked right in like he owned the place, talking about how we needed to talk, how I was making things worse. I stood up, looked him dead in the face and said, "Leave. Now." He tried to guilt me. Said Lexi broke up with him because of what I told her. That I ruined his relationship. I laughed right in his face. You ruined it the moment you lied. This is your mess. I reported him to the building manager that same day. Had a note put in for security. I wasn't going to play the scared ex-girlfriend. I was done giving him power. But now I had something better than anger. I had information. Turns out Brad hadn't just lied to me and Lexi. He had another little secret. While digging through his old emails, he'd once logged into Gmail on my laptop and forgot to log out. I found something interesting. A series of messages between him and a woman named Danielle. She worked for a real estate agency downtown. They'd been emailing back and forth about a condo. A joint application. That was the real kicker. The timestamp? 2 weeks before he told me he was helping his brother move. So I called the agency. I pretended to be Danielle. Hi, I'm just checking to make sure the application with Brad is still in process. The woman on the phone was sweet and chatty. Oh yes, we're just waiting for him to submit the last pay stub. Once that's in, you two can move forward. It's such a nice unit too. I thanked her, hung up, and sat there with my hands shaking. He wasn't just cheating. He was trying to move in with someone else while living in my apartment, while sleeping in my bed, while using my Netflix account. So I made a choice. I printed the emails. I printed the condo application. I mailed a copy to the real estate office, addressed to Danielle. I included a sticky note, just in case you didn't know you weren't the only one. I didn't sign it. I didn't need to. But the best part? Brad had no idea what was coming. Not yet. 2 weeks went by. Silence. No texts. No calls. Nothing from Brad. Not even a late night "I miss you" message. I figured he was licking his wounds or busy explaining himself to Danielle. Good. Let him squirm. But then Marcus, his brother, called me. Now, Marcus and I had always been cool. He's younger than Brad by a few years, but a lot more grounded. We'd hung out plenty when Brad and I were still together. So when I saw his name pop up, I hesitated. Then I answered. He didn't waste time. Rachel, I need to tell you something. You deserve to know. That sentence alone made my stomach turn. He went on. Said he ran into Brad the day before at a gas station. They talked in the parking lot. It didn't go well. Brad looked rough, like he hadn't shaved or slept much. Said he blamed me for everything. For Lexi, for Danielle, for ruining his life. Marcus didn't hold back. I told him he did that to himself. You trusted him. He used you. I didn't say anything, just listened. Then Marcus said he's trying to move back into Grandma's old trailer. The one that's basically falling apart. He has nowhere else to go. Danielle's out. Lexi blocked him. He even asked me for money. That hit me harder than I expected. I wasn't sad for him. I was mad that he was still walking around blaming me like I was the problem. But I wasn't done yet, because I had one more card to play. See, when we lived together, Brad had signed up for a joint gym membership under both our names to get a discount. It was under my account. I'd forgotten all about it until I got a charge for the monthly fee on my credit card. So I logged into the account. Sure enough, Brad was still going. Same location. Same schedule. Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. Predictable as always. I changed the password. Then I called the gym, told them I'd like to revoke his access since he wasn't authorized anymore. They said sure, no problem. The next day, I swung by the gym around 9 a.m. just to watch. I didn't go in. Just parked across the street and waited. And sure enough, there he was, pulling up in that dented silver sedan of his. He got out, stretched like he owned the world, walked up to the doors, and got stopped by the front desk. I couldn't hear what was said, but I could see it. The way his smile dropped. The way he pulled out his wallet, tried to offer ID or something. The way the gym manager shook her head. Eventually, he turned around and walked back to his car, kicking the front tire once before getting in. I watched him drive off. Didn't follow. Didn't smile. I just sat there. Because even though it was petty, it felt good. But this next part? This next part wasn't petty. It was war. A few days after the gym stunt, I got a letter in the mail addressed to me and Brad. It was from our old internet provider. Apparently, the account we had together hadn't been closed properly. He never paid the final bill. $212.36. And now it was being sent to collections under my name too. That was the moment I snapped. I had spent weeks trying to reclaim my sanity, digging myself out of the mess he left behind, and he still managed to drag me down with him. So I called the collections agency, explained the situation, sent in proof that I was no longer with Brad, and got my name off the account. But that wasn't enough. I wanted him to feel it. That's when I remembered something else. When Brad first moved in with me, he didn't have great credit. I had helped him lease a car co-signed, like an idiot. He made the payments on time for the first year. After that, it became hit or miss. But I was still technically listed on the lease. So I called the dealership. Told them I wanted to remove myself from the contract. They said no, you can't just walk away from a cosign. But they could flag the account if payments fell behind. So I waited. 2 weeks later, I logged into the shared portal. He had never changed the password. And guess what? His payment was 30 days late. I called them back and flagged the account. Now every day that passed without payment would hit his credit harder. And when the car eventually got repossessed, which I knew it would, he wouldn't be able to lease a bike, let alone a car. It wasn't about the money. I could have paid it off and walked away clean. But I wanted him to feel stuck. Like I did. Like I had felt when he lied to me, used me, and walked out with a smug little smirk like he'd gotten away with something. I didn't tell anyone what I did. But 2 days later, Marcus texted me again. Brad's car got towed from outside the trailer. He's blaming you. I replied, he should have read the contract. Then I blocked his number. But I wasn't done. Because remember that girl, Lexi? The one who blocked me? Well, turns out she has a public Instagram. And one night while I was scrolling, I saw something interesting. A video of her sitting in a parked car, laughing with someone off screen. It was short. Just 5 seconds. But the voice? That voice was Brad's. The caption said, when he thinks he's funny but he's really just dumb nail polish, so I knew they were back together. That's when I got an idea. A dangerous one. One I probably shouldn't have acted on. But I did. The idea came to me while I was staring at that stupid video of Lexi and Brad in the car. She took him back. After everything. After I sent her proof. After she blocked me. After he probably lied to her face again. She still let him crawl back into her life, like the pathetic coward he is. That told me one thing: she was either dumber than I thought or desperate enough to believe whatever story he fed her. And I knew Brad. I knew his stories. How he twisted things to make himself the victim. How he left out just enough to make his lies sound like half-truths. He probably told her I was the crazy ex, that I was bitter and out for revenge. So I decided to give them both a reason to believe it. I created a new Instagram account. Fake name. 0 followers. No posts. Just a burner. Then I messaged her. Just wanted to let you know Brad was still trying to get with Danielle last week. Ask him about the lease paperwork. Smiley face. I waited. She didn't respond right away. But later that night, she made her account private. A small victory, but I wasn't done yet. I made a second account. Sent her more screenshots, this time from the leasing emails between him and Danielle. I still had them. Sent the subject lines, dates, and a screenshot of the real estate agent's reply to him. Then I went silent. 3 days later, Lexi posted a black screen on her story with the caption, "Men are garbage." That's it. That's the post. I smiled. But then something happened that I didn't expect. Danielle messaged me. "Are you the one who sent me the leasing emails?" I stared at her message for a long time. Then I answered, "Yes. I thought you should know who you were signing with." Her reply was short. "Thank you. He's been harassing me since." I had to block him. She sent me screenshots. Brad had been texting her nonstop, calling her names, threatening to expose her for being unstable if she didn't keep quiet, telling her she ruined his life, that I was the one behind all of it. Then he crossed a line. He showed up to her office. Security had to escort him out. When she told me that, something inside me shifted. This wasn't just about me anymore. He wasn't just a cheater. He was dangerous. A man with no control and no shame. So I decided to make sure no woman would ever fall for his act again. And I knew exactly how to do it. I started collecting emails, screenshots, text messages, dates, names, every lie, every overlap. Every time he told one of us something completely different. I laid it all out in a clean, simple timeline. I called it the Brad file. It wasn't hard to organize. I still had access to half his life, old emails, login info, photos from his cloud backups. He never bothered changing anything after he left. It was like he assumed I'd just sit in silence while he burned everything down. Wrong. I compiled everything into a Google Drive folder and gave it a simple title, "Just so you know, Brad." Then I created an email account under a fake name. And I sent that link to every woman I suspected had crossed paths with him: Lexi, Danielle, a girl named Harper he used to hook up with back in 2021, even an old coworker I'd met at one of their company barbecues. She once joked that Brad was flirty with everything that breathes. I figured she deserved to know how right she was. But I didn't stop there. I sent it to Marcus, too, along with a message that read, "Thought you might want to know who your brother really is." Marcus didn't reply. Not right away. 2 days later, he texted. I cut him off. I should have done it sooner. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Brad, though? Brad found out. I don't know how, but he did. Maybe one of the women confronted him. Maybe he tried to manipulate someone and they finally showed him the file. Because suddenly, he was back. Blowing up my phone, blocked numbers, emails, DMs from fake accounts, long rambling messages about how I destroyed his reputation and how he could have had a future if it weren't for me. One of the emails actually said, "You've turned people against me like I'm the villain." I read that one 3 times. Then I saved it to the folder. Because at that point, I realized something. I wasn't afraid of him anymore. Not his words. Not his temper. Not his stupid threats. He made his bed. I just turned on the light so everyone could see it. But this is where it really spirals. Because the damage? It didn't stop with just his love life. Turns out Brad had a new job lined up. Sales position with a small but growing company based out of Louisville. He was supposed to start the following Monday. But someone at that company, someone who got a hold of the Brad file, sent it to HR. Guess who got a phone call saying the offer was rescinded? He tried to blame me again. Said I was spreading lies and ruining his future. Said he could sue me for defamation. I told him in one last message, everything in that file is your own words, your own actions. If you're embarrassed, that's on you. Then I deleted the email, blocked the account, and moved on. Or so I thought. Because Brad? He wasn't done. Not yet. It all came to a head one cold Friday morning in January. I was at work, sipping bad break room coffee, half reading emails when my phone lit up. It was a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. 30 minutes later, the same number called again. I picked up, annoyed. Hello, Rachel. It's Brad. I froze. I hadn't heard his voice since the day I kicked him out. But now it sounded different. Tired. Hollow. Like the fight had been beaten out of him. I need you to stop, he said. Please. I didn't say a word. He went on. You ruined everything. Lexi's gone. Danielle hates me. My brother won't talk to me. I got dropped from the lease, lost my car, and now my credit's wrecked. I can't even get a job interview anymore. You win. I sat down slowly. He kept talking. I'm living in that rotting trailer. No heat. No hot water. My phone's on a prepaid card. I have nothing. I waited until he was done. Then I said, I didn't do this to you, Brad. You did this to yourself. Silence. Then, almost whispering, he said, I didn't mean for it to get this bad. That was the closest thing to an apology I ever got. I told him, maybe next time, think twice before lying to everyone who ever cared about you. I hung up, and that should have been the end. But the final blow came a week later. Marcus sent me a message out of the blue. A single link to a Facebook post. It was Brad. He'd written a long, sad status update about how he'd lost everything and was starting over. Claimed he was the victim of a toxic woman who couldn't let go. Said he'd been targeted, that his personal life had been weaponized against him. The comments were full of sympathy from people who didn't know him well. But there were others too. Women who had seen the file. Friends who knew the truth. They lit him up. One woman commented, "No one destroyed you. You built that bonfire yourself," and handed out marshmallows. Another just wrote, "Receipts don't lie." Within a day, he deleted the post. That's when I knew it was finally over. Not because he ran out of chances, but because he ran out of people willing to believe him. I'll be honest, I didn't come out of this clean either. I became someone I barely recognized for a while. Obsessed. Angry. Petty. I got lost in revenge. But now, months later, I feel lighter. He taught me what betrayal looks like up close. What manipulation sounds like whispered in your ear at 2 a.m. He taught me not to doubt myself when something feels wrong. And most of all, he taught me how to burn a bridge properly, so it can never be crossed again. Let him sit in that cold trailer, blaming everyone but himself. As for me, I changed the locks, changed my number, and started again. This time without lies, without weight, and without Brad.